Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Ash, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Ash Knows Travel, where I share trainings, walkthroughs, and insider tips to help travel advisors book smarter and build confidence. And tonight's training is going to be a little different, okay? We are doing my biggest travel advisor mistakes and what they taught me. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. This is a pre recording because your girl right now is in Hawaii, okay? I'm in Hawaii, but I didn't want to leave you guys without any type of trainings. So I decided to go ahead and pre record this so you guys have something even when I'm gone. Okay. But honestly, this training is not really going to be a training per se for tonight. Okay. This is just something that I wish that someone would have told me when I first started. Can we all agree that we all just wish maybe that someone would have sat there and said, hey, no sugarcoating. This is just honestly what I've learned along the way. So I'm very, very excited to kind of get in and dive into all of this. And I also still want to hear from you guys. Okay. I'm still here in the chat. So if you are live here, drop a quick hello in the chat so that I know that you are with me. And if you happen to just catch this on a replay, I still want to know that you stopped by. So make sure you guys still comment replay even underneath the video so that I can say hello to you there too. All right. But let me go ahead and get all of this off the screen real quick and fix everything. And put that here. And we're going to do a little different setup for tonight too. Because I feel like this isn't really, oh, let me turn my camera on. Hello. Because I feel like this isn't really a training. This is more like this is what I've learned so far in being here. I wanted to kind of make it more personal for you guys. Like I'm talking to you and not just like I'm teaching you. I'm going to talk a lot about myself and my stories and just share things with you guys that I wish I would have known in the beginning. Yeah. So let's go ahead and let me switch over here to Canva so I can switch over the slides. But let's get into it. All right. So, like I said, tonight's training is different. This isn't the standard corporate kind of training that I do. Okay. I'm just sharing raw mistakes that helped shape my business. Some of them cost me money, some of them cost me confidence and time and effort. Yeah. But all of them changed the way I worked forever. Okay. So my goal here for you guys tonight is just I want you to learn these lessons without paying the tuition that I did. Honestly, that's what I consider it. Consider this like a university where we're all learning and growing when it comes to the travel industry. And I probably paid way more tuition than I needed to. So I want to prevent that for you guys. That's honestly what I'm here for. All right. So let's dive into the first one. Um, yeah, okay. We're just gonna start off real strong here. This was probably one of the harshest realities that I had to learn as a travel agent. The first one is thinking clients would just find me. Now, my scenario in starting and my travel journey is probably a lot different from everybody else's. I had just moved to Houston. It just ended in COVID in 2022 is when I started. COVID had just ended and I started my social media blank. I'm not a social media person before this. I didn't have a social media background. I started with just 100 followers on my personal Facebook only. I didn't even use really Instagram at all. But I honestly thought when I first started that clients were just going to magically appear just because I had the title of being a travel agent. Okay. I used to wait for the phone to ring. I used to just like, I just honestly, I waited for it to all happen to me. And it was like a very, very big reality that if I'm not visible, they will not book with me. And that was just something that I had to learn over time. Every time I would sit down and be like, man, I don't have any clients. Why don't I have any clients? And it was because I wasn't actually trying to be a travel agent. I was just thinking that they would find me. Right. So, what did I learn from this? Honestly, visibility creates opportunities. Showing up before you even feel ready, that's okay. I don't care how you show up, but I need you to just show up in general, right? And that honestly, in general, consistency beats perfection. When I first showed up, I mean, I could show you guys my first YouTube videos, scary. My first TikToks, horrible. We didn't even really use Canva. We used to use a different service when I first started. And then we kind of learned more about Canva as I started. So they were scary. Okay. But nobody can book a secret. So, regardless of how you're going to show up, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be you. Okay. I feel like a lot of us try to first start out thinking that, we have to be the most professional, the most this, the most that. but people don't book with you just based off of that. They base also off of how you connect with them as a person. If you are not connecting with them or showing up at all, they can't find you. And that was just something I really had to learn. So I have decided in my travel career, I show up every day somewhere. I don't care where I show up because I have multiple platforms, but I'm going to post something on those platforms, regardless if it's just my life as a travel agent or travel in general, whatever that is, I'm going to show up somewhere. That way, clients always have a way to find me. Number two, trying to market everything. Okay. Now, if you guys hear my kids outside here, please note that there are kids right outside the door and it's summer. So please just ignore the background if you hear it. Okay. But mistake number two, trying to market everything. Ooh, how many times when we first start, like, and that's, I even ask you guys in presentation when I'm presenting, I literally say to you guys, I'm like, all right, so what do you want to market? Before you even start, I ask you, because when we first start, a lot of us think that we have to market everything everywhere at all times. And I literally did that. Like I started with Disney, I did Europe, I did cruises. The next day I was doing luxury. The next day I was doing families, weddings. I mean, I was doing everything. Okay. And I realized that when I kept trying to market everything, it really stressed me out, for one. And then two, that I just blended in with every advisor because I didn't have enough time to perfect what I actually wanted to market because I was trying to get everything everywhere, right? So, what it taught me was, and what you will see anywhere that you go on my social media profiles, is that when I'm marketing, I'm only really marketing one thing. And with that, okay, I still book everything. I just booked a Universal trip. I booked a trip to, where did they go? There was a trip to Cancun for a guy that was hanging out with his friends. I also booked a romantic anniversary trip to Secrets. I think it was like Maroma or something like that. Like I book all types of things. Okay. That does not mean that I only book one thing, but I only market one thing. That way it's effortlessly when people remember me, they go, oh, yeah, that's what Ash is. That's what Ash does. That's how Ash works. Right. That's what I realized I had to market. I had to literally market myself and not try to market everything. Okay. So, and that when I first started, I honestly, I was marketing Las Vegas. And then I realized there was no commission really in that because it's cheap. So I was like, "Ooh, okay, need to do something else." Then I actually started marketing destination weddings and I became very, very devoted to that. I created a whole entire separate like profile for it and it did great. And I made a lot of bookings. But guess what? Destination weddings, they take a lot out of you. Okay. And they don't always happen. They come in time, they make a lot of money, but it's like building up into one booking. That's a huge booking, is really what it is. So then I was like, oh, okay, that's a little strenuous just to focus on that. We need something that's going to constantly make income regardless, right? So then I also decided, you know what? We're going to just start booking family vacations. And I didn't enjoy it. I booked the cruises more than the vacations. It was just too hard for me. I just didn't like it. And then I realized, oh, you know what? Every time I start booking something, do you know what it always related back to? Adults only. I don't know why. It just, for me, it was like everything was adults only. I didn't like the family part because the kids made it more complicated. And I know it's complicated planning family trips for myself. So I was like, oh, I don't want to do that as a job. I do that alone. Right. So that's how it worked out for me. And I tell you that because when you first start, you don't know that. You don't know what you're going to develop into. You don't know what's going to work for you. Like the only reason I even knew that adults only actually worked is because I had one viral video on TikTok and then it all just clicked. And I was like, hello, why didn't we just figure that out? Right. But it didn't happen overnight. And that's okay because I wouldn't be as confident as I am now booking adults only travel as if I would have when I first started out. And I want to say that to you so that you understand that it's okay for you to develop and for you to change and then you to grow as a travel advisor because this is something that's supposed to be like your life, your career, what you want to do. And it's okay to change in that. That's exactly what I want you to understand from this. All right. Now, number three, waiting till I felt ready. Okay. This is something that we all do as travel advisors. We all like wait because we don't feel ready to do something. We don't feel ready to book. We don't feel ready to market. We don't feel ready to talk to people. Okay. That was something that kind of took over my career for the first couple of years. I sat there and just kind of thought there were so many times in my career where like I was afraid to just make a video because I didn't want to share my face. Or there were so many times in my career where I was afraid to make this video because I didn't know if it would work or if people were going to like it. Or just like there were just so many things that I constantly put myself in a bubble because I was just like, like I don't think this is going to work. So I just didn't do it. And that hurt me so much in my career because I would see other people do it and then I'd be like, man, if you just would have done it, like I literally was terrified to start YouTube. Okay. I did not honestly start YouTube until I felt like I just got to a point where I wanted to help all these travel advisors and like I couldn't. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna start training. And if they want to attend it, they attend it, right? But I could have done this way earlier, but I didn't like my voice and trainings. I didn't like the way I looked in my videos. I convinced myself that nobody would watch. Okay. And I endlessly, I mean, I postponed creating so much content. Okay. I actually ended up taking a course. And in that course, it forced me to start showing my face. And me showing my face was what led me to my viral video, which led me to being adults only. Okay. So, like, I tell you this because I want you to understand that you don't have to be ready to do any of this. You have to just step a little bit out of your comfort zone every single day. And that's just life in general, right? Like I had even now been on like my weight loss journey. Like I set Hawaii as a goal and I met it. Okay. But that journey, when it first started, when I first walked to the gym, I would only go on the treadmill for like 10 minutes because I was scared to be in the gym. Then I first started using dumbbells and I was scared, terrified I was going to do it wrong. So I didn't want to do it in front of anybody. And then, like, now I go to the gym, I know the workouts that I'm doing, I know how much I'm going to be on the treadmill, I know what exercises works out, what part of my body. Like, I say this because I want you to understand that's how it is when you're a travel advisor. Okay. Like, it works that way. But if you guys aren't doing these actions, you're never going to be ready and you're never going to get bookings. Okay. Actions is what creates confidence, not the other way around, obviously, right? And nobody expects you to be an expert. Nobody starts as an expert. I was an expert even at the gym. I didn't start that way, but I grew into it, right? That's what they expect you to do. And that's what you should expect yourself to do in the process, okay? Every successful creator, every successful travel advisor, every person in general, they all started with 0 viewers. No matter how successful they are today, everybody started at 0 and we all had to grow somewhere, right? So you have to make sure that you don't just wait until you feel ready or you will never be ready when it comes to booking travel. I promise you. All right. Number 4, having no client boundaries. Now, this is something that I'm still learning today. Even as 4 years in, this is something that I find myself all the time constantly going, we got to change this policy up because this isn't working. Okay. Like, I'm going to just give you a quick story. Okay. I have always been one of those people that if I can secure it in Vax without like anything, I'm just going to go in there, secure it. You know how we can like hold it and then take a deposit later in the week. Okay. That's always been my go to, other than Vacation Express when it comes to my adults only resorts, because it's a great seller, especially a lot of the times when I'm doing adults only resorts. I do that in the evenings and people don't want to talk on the phones. Okay. So I recently have run into a situation where they will go ahead and hold it. And then later on, they'll be like, oh, we want to change our minds. We want to look at something else. And I learned that was because they weren't paying the deposit until later on. So I changed that. Okay. We ain't doing that anymore now. Even if the deposit's not due later in the week, listen, in order to secure this booking, I'm going to hold it right now, but I'm going to need you to pay that deposit within 24 hours. Because once they pay that deposit, they're not going to change their mind. And I just realized that. So, like, I tell you this because I'm still learning this. Okay. But I love that. I feel like this is what makes me such a great trainer, is because I am not the person that just started off fresh with 1,000 bookings and 1,000 views and 1,000 this. Like, I've had to learn the hard way. And I'm going to save you guys a lot of time because I'm going to share the hard ways I learned. Okay. All right. So, what happened to me, and especially, listen, my brother, I love him, but listen, he ran me. Okay. Listen, whew, he ran me through the mud when it came to my first booking. He wanted to go to Disney and he made me look up a Disney quote for like all 8 hours because I didn't know what I was doing. Right. And then all of that, he went and booked like the cheapest like hotel. He booked like a day's in. And I was like, listen, you made me look all of that up. Okay. listen, we all go through this. Okay. Sometimes it's our family, sometimes it's our friends, sometimes it's clients, whatever. Okay. We've all went through this part where we've poured hours into free quotes and infinite revisions. Yes. Have we all done this? Right. Okay. We've also done a lot and then we've lost our clients after doing all of the heavy lifting, right? We've done all the research, we've done all of that, and then they go book on their own. Okay. I have learned so much from these small incidents that have occurred to me. And I've learned also that just because they don't book with me doesn't mean they're not going to book forever. That just means in that moment they didn't. And that was kind of the biggest thing for me when I learned. But I'm going to tell you something. It made me put up so many client boundaries because I had to learn that time is money more than even money. Because the more time I have, the more time I have to make money. But if I'm constantly using that time to pour into people that aren't booking with me, I'm wasting it, right? So your time has immense value. And I mean your time in general for your life, for what you do every day. Everything is time, okay? Boundaries protect your peace in your business. And it's very important that you set them up early. If I feel that at any point in time that I'm not going to be making money doing something, I'm not doing it. That's it. Like if I feel like you're not going to book with me, I'm going to go get that reassurance and talk to you before I look up anything, okay? Premium clients respect a premium process and they're not going to waste your time. Our job as travel advisors is to determine who's an actual premium clients. That's it, honestly. Okay. The old way I used to do things, unlimited quotes, endless revisions, ghosted by clients. And then very quickly, it took me about a year in, I learned we're going to start doing deposits. Yeah. We're going to start setting boundaries and we're going to have a mutual respect that my time is money and it's not free. Okay. That's number 4. Let's keep going. Number 5, comparing myself to other advisors. This is something that I still struggle with even 4 years in because we love our community, right? We are in a community, but honestly, some of us are just better at things than others, okay? Like, I mean, some of us are good at TikTok. Some of us are good at just not showing our face at all. Me. Some of us are good at posting and in general, and some of us have big Instagrams and Facebooks, etc. Right? We all have different perks and just different things that we're great at. But the worst thing that you could ever do as an advisor is compare yourself to somebody else because everybody kind of starts out with the same opportunity. It's just that we present ourselves with different opportunities along the way. So it kind of shapes us as we go. We're all not ever the same. We're all different, but that's kind of what makes us unique in our own way, right? Now, I used to be like mad obsessed with other TikTokers and other YouTubers and all of that. And I would just kind of, look at all of the different things that they're doing. And I always just assumed that there was just some secret that I didn't know. I always used to say that. I'm like, they're just not telling us what they're doing. They're just not telling us what they're doing. Okay. That's not what it is. That's not what they're doing. I realized it's like, I spent so much time trying to figure out what everybody was doing. And I realized, you know what? You just kind of have to build your own path. You're going to have to do what you want to do, how you're doing it. And then people are going to naturally go to you as you develop your own path. That's it. All right. Comparison instantly steals momentum because you find yourself feeling like you're never enough. Yeah. Can we agree with that? Everyone starts at 0. So everybody I see is an equal to me. At some point, they were in my spot. They're not better than me. They're not different in the sense that it's something I cannot obtain, is what I'm trying to say. I can do this too, but we all have to learn and grow, right? Success looks entirely different for everyone. Focus on your own lane. That is the best thing that I can tell you. We'll see that you are better at some things than other people, vice versa, and that's okay. But we can all still work together as a community and kind of use our own strengths as we grow, right? But I have to stop comparing myself to other people. I am just who I am, and that's just what I'm going to be, all right? And you have to do that for yourself as well. Next one. Thinking success would happen quickly. I feel like this is because we're on presentation and we see all of what we can do. And it's like something that we just want to throw ourselves into. But honestly, that's not how it works. This is not something that's just going to magically happen overnight. You have to put in that consistency. You have to put in that effort. And honestly, if you're willing to put in your entire self into this, you can really turn it into something quite beautiful. Okay. As somebody who's been here for 4 years, I can say, listen, next Thursday, I'm going to be speaking at a panel and a convention. 4 years ago, I was a stay-at-home mom who had a 4-month-old baby, and I honestly didn't even know how I was going to pay bills. And I started this like on a whim, like, let's just hope and see if this works. Okay. That was me 4 years ago. And now look at me. All right. What actually happened was posting consistently. I hosted live sessions, I built trainings, I built this, I built that, right? And honestly, I faced crickets for months. I'm gonna be honest with you. There were some times where I wouldn't get any views, I wouldn't get any content. I mean, I was just hoping, I was just praying, right? But I realized that if I built the little bit of this and a little bit of that, and I built into a little bit more of this, and then I built into like, let's just say TikToks, right? I mastered TikTok, I built into YouTube, I built into Facebook, and I just started building into things, and it just kind of all came together, right? I learned that success compounds slowly, then all at once. And it was like these little small wins that of what have led me to the big ones. And I've learned to just kind of stop and enjoy that. Okay. It's not something that's going to ever just be done. I'm always just going to get better at it. That's how I had to change that entire perspective. Okay. Small, consistent actions forge massive results. Keep showing up, the monetization, the audience, all of that, that follows. Okay. I tell you this because this is me. This is what happened to me. I started from scratch. I didn't have nobody really like saying this is exactly how you do it. I learned from trial and error. If you guys don't do any of that trialing, you're never going to learn what actually works. That's just it. You can attend all of my trainings, but if you don't actually do what I'm telling you to do, it's not going to work. That's it. I'm just being honest with you. All right. Now, number 7. This is probably, oh, yeah, this is a good one. Okay. Thinking I had to stay in one lane. Okay. I have learned that the best part about being in this travel industry is that there are so many different revenues for income. I honestly just thought when I first started, the only way I can make income is booking travel. But there are so many different things that we can tap into. And I'm showing this as an example so that you guys can just see like it's not an all fit one piece. Okay. You have this beautiful opportunity that Archer and Evolution gives us. And it's just basically giving us the platform to do whatever we can, right, to make different types of income. Because in 2026, you guys know that we can't just have it to where we're on one steady type of income, right? We've got to have several different things coming in 2026. So I'm telling you this story just so you can see that honestly, you don't have to have that narrow mindset that there's only one way of making income, right? So I'm gonna tell you guys this is what happened to me. All right. I built my own travel website from scratch. I've built like 4 of them by now because I keep trying different platforms. And somebody noticed it and they asked me for help. Okay. That ended up leading me into a second business now I have a highly profitable business, not only just sitting here and like just doing travel, but also websites, also YouTube, also what else do I have? Monetization in general on all of my platforms that I'm on, right? Then I have team building. And from team building, I also have residual income. And from that residual income, I also have the commissions coming in from the upline. I have like 7 different types of just revenue coming in from one platform. And that was the biggest thing that I learned. I had to realize that it wasn't just about making sure that we book all the types of travel and everything in there, right? It was about really finding the way that you could really just help yourself when it comes to being in the travel industry. So how can I grow? Okay. For me, it was simple. I'm a trainer. That's just me naturally. I just help people. That's just what it is. Okay. I just help people. I'm just naturally a helper. That's how I work. Okay. But what I learned in this is that new opportunities, especially in the travel industry, they arrive unannounced. You will find yourself one day you're in the middle of doing this, and then the next day you're doing something else, right? Follow what you're naturally good at, and you will thrive in the travel industry because everybody around us is already traveling. We just need to find ways to show them that we're already naturally good at this, and this is how we can help you, right? And then, honestly, one of the biggest things that I learned is that every time I would build into something, it was helping to grow something else. I'm gonna give you another example when it comes to like websites in general. I recently, back in February, I joined Divas Empowered, right? And when I originally joined that, I had no idea what I was doing. And that's just something that else I poured myself into. Okay. I was like, I'm going to join this. I don't know how I'm going to help them, but I'm going to figure it out something. Okay. The fact that I know how to build websites, the fact that I learned how to build my website through this travel industry, right? The fact that I know how to do landing pages, now that I know how to do newsletters, and now that I know how to do promotions, now that I know how to do everything, as soon as I started joining, I started showing them what I could do, teaching them what I can do. And it was all through travel because I had already built it. Guess what? I was made marketing lead, right? All right off the bat, marketing lead for Divas and Powers. And that opportunity would have never presented itself if I had never thought about just randomly creating my own website, right? That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. These opportunities, they become unannounced, especially when you start diving into the travel industry, because there's so many different things that you can tap into. But I never would have done that if I've always just would have focused on strictly just like, I had to do this, I had to do this, I had to do this. I had to really just kind of sit down and open up my path and just see like all the different things that I can do. And it's been a very beautiful, like growing thing when it just kind of started all just from travel. That's what's crazy about it. I never would have thought in the 4 years of me being here that I would be here. I promise you. It's not something that happened overnight. I worked very hard on it, but I would have never done that if I would have just thought that I had to stick to one lane and do only one thing for the rest of my life. All right. Now, number 8. This one's pretty big. Almost giving up. Okay. Everybody goes through this, no matter, even if you're not in the travel industry, everybody goes in this through life. And especially if you own a business, this happens quite often that we just kind of reach this moment where we're like, I want to quit. I don't want to do this anymore. Right. I have had this happen quite a few times in my travel career. And it wasn't always just travel bookings. Sometimes it was team building. Sometimes it was the team. Sometimes it was I was giving too much of myself and not giving enough to myself. Like there were several different times in my life where I questioned if the struggle that I was going through would ever actually pay off. I'm going to be honest with you, especially when I first started when I first started YouTube, it was rough. I was doing 3 recordings a week. And I was also doing like these shorts for clients where I would teach them stuff about travel. And it honestly just kind of like, oh man, it threw me for a whim. Okay. Hovered over the quit button during the hardest seasons. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And I honestly learned that the people here that are successful, like me, and other people there that are leaders, right, in evolution, we didn't get this way because we gave up. We got this way because we actually didn't give up. So when I get into these moments now where I feel like, man, this is too much. I just don't want to do this anymore. I have those moments. I'm not gonna lie to you. I do all the time. Okay. Especially with 6 kids. I'll be like, oh girl, I'm just going through the ringer, right? But I had to learn that, okay, I'm gonna tell you something that somebody told me one time. Everybody gets a turn in their life when it's hard times. Can we admit that? Like everybody gets a turn. Somebody is going through a hard time, all right? But just right now, it just might be my turn. That's it. And then I realized that it made me kind of stop and realize that hard seasons are temporary. Those setbacks are just setbacks, okay? I cannot quit while I'm going through a setback. I would rather quit when I'm on a high of whatever it is, the top bookings, top YouTube views, top this, top that, whatever this is, right? I would rather quit on that, okay? Because I don't want to basically put myself in a situation where I have regrets. Can we all agree with that, right? Like if you quit too early, you're going to put yourself in a situation when you're going to find out like, okay, why did I quit now? Why, if I just would have kept going, I would have done something different. I could have had this, I could have had that. And that's what these leaders are made of. They are made of people that just never quit. That's what it is. And that's why they're successful. And that alone was enough momentum to make me keep going. Because why can't I be this person? Why can't I be a top travel booker? Who says I can't? The only person that's telling me I can is myself, right? Like that is what. Now, I put this in here. I know it says today I'm recording this preparing for Hawaii. The breakthrough moment comes after the hardest, okay? I put that for a reason. Because yes, I am recording this to prepare for Hawaii. But that is just showing you what happens when I didn't give up. I realized, okay, I can still do this. I just have to find another way to do this, right? That was probably one of the biggest things that I've learned was preparation. That's it. That's just what this is. I'm prepared, right? None of this preparation would have happened if I gave up. I just had to keep going through these little weird situations where I was like, oh, what am I doing, right? That's what it is, okay? The breakthrough comes right after the hardest moment. That's it. The breakthrough, that's it. I'm telling you. Okay. The moment that you feel like you're about to give up, that's when you're on the brink of doing something great. That's really what it is. Okay. Now, if I could go back and write a letter to myself from June 2022, the version of me then would have never believed who I was today. But I would tell them to keep showing up, keep learning, stop comparing yourself to everybody else, protect your time and your energy, and believe in yourself a lot sooner. I had to believe in myself before everybody else could. That's just honest truth. Okay. Everything you are building right now will eventually be worth it. And everything that you're building right now will pour into what you're building for tomorrow. Okay. If I could go back, I would tell myself that because I would see it. I would see it. Oh, you know what? Those late nights of me staying up, making sure all my posts are right, making sure that my YouTube is planned like this, like all of those late nights is of what made me here today. Okay. I wouldn't have any of that if I would have given up early and just been like, you know what? It is what it is. It'll happen eventually. It's just going to happen. I just got to wait. It's just going to happen. No, it doesn't. It doesn't work that way. The effort, the time, the times that I showed up when nobody was watching, that's what built today. And you all have those same capabilities. Okay. You all have that, but you don't have it unless you actually get out there and try. Your biggest mistake won't be making the mistakes. I promise you, we forget those mistakes very quickly. Okay. Your biggest mistake would be quitting before those mistakes had a chance to teach you something. I promise you. The most successful people in the world have learned from those mistakes that they have made. You can't make them if you're not here. That's it. Okay. Now, I know I talked a lot about myself tonight, and I just want to say, if you guys are watching this, I just want to thank you guys. I know a lot of you here are our regulars that watch all of my trainings. All of you guys, I screenshot every single message. If somebody writes me a message that is sweet or loving or just like in general reminds me of why I'm doing this, I screenshot everything. One day I'm going to put them all together and just show you guys all of the messages. But I wouldn't have that if I didn't believe in myself and I just didn't get myself out there, right? If you guys go back to my first YouTube trainings, I never showed my face. I did it. I never showed my face on a training. And now look at me. Now I'm here, right? So, like, I say that to you guys that I just hope it inspires you and hope you learn a lot of the mistakes that I've learned from and that you just get out there and become who you're supposed to become. Like, the only person that is setting yourself back right now is you. Okay. So I want to leave you with the ability to let yourself make mistakes, let yourself grow and become the travel advisor that you are meant to be. All right. Now, y'all, I will see you guys back. I am doing another pre-recorded training. This one will be a live replay. Let me see where it's at here. Hold on. Boom. All right, there it is. So I will be doing my pre-recorded training. It's Asha's. Oh, there it is. July 23rd, right there. How I would start over as a travel agent. That's what this week is. We're just reflecting on, man, being 4 years. It's been 4 years. It's been an amazing ride. I absolutely love it. And I just want to share it with you guys. All right. But if you come back, okay, after Thursday, the following week, listen,